Hi everyone, we're starting a new three-part series on another aspect of the Employment Rights Act coming into force, one of the more chunky provisions, and that is around what the government is calling fire and rehire provisions. So this is the use by some employers of dismissal and re-engagement to force through certain contractual changes. And the Employment Rights Act is going to prevent the use of that in restricted variations. So we'll come on to what a restricted variation is, but essentially the government is saying if the business wants to make a restricted variation, such as reducing somebody's pay, if the employee refuses and the employee is dismissed and offered re-engagement as a result, that will be an automatic unfair dismissal. Now, the first important piece of news to update on is that that is likely to be brought into force in January 2027, seemingly to give more time for the consultation, for the final legislation to be prepared, and for employers to do as much as they can to prepare as well. But essentially, an employee will be automatically unfairly dismissed where the reason or the principal reason for the dismissal is that the employer sought to vary the contract and make a restricted variation, which again we'll come on to, and obviously circumstances where the employee doesn't agree, or where the employer makes more than one variation, the employee doesn't agree, and as part of several variations, at least one is restricted. And the final automatic unfair dismissal circumstances where the dismissal is so that the employer can employ somebody else or re-engage the employee under a varied contract of employment to carry out the same duties. So essentially this protects against the employer replacing the employee with somebody else to do the same job in the event that they refuse to agree to any variation. There will be an exemption for employers in significant financial difficulty, but I think the news on that to date has really been that that's going to be quite a restrictive practice, and the employer is going to have to show quite grave financial circumstances which lead to that variation being put into place. Now, so far, the meaning of a restricted variation is not particularly clear, and this is going to be the focus of a consultation which has been launched. So, at the moment, a restricted variation means, among other things, a reduction of or removal of an entitlement to any sum payable to an employee in connection with the employment. So that would cover basic pay, bonus, commission, overtime, allowances, on-call rates, things that are clearly cash benefits essentially. And it also includes a variation of the timing or duration of a shift which meets such conditions as may be specified in regulations. That is the focus of the consultation, which we'll come on to in a future video. And it's important to note as well that that list can be added to. So the Secretary of State has the power to add any other restricted variations to the list. Specifically as well, there is a right to make regulations to provide that certain elements do not constitute a restricted variation, such as payments in respect of any expenses incurred by the employee and payments or benefits in kind. So benefits in kind may be being the provision of a company car, private medical insurance, gym membership, that sort of thing. So what we're going to come on to in the next two videos is two parts to the consultation which focus on non-cash benefits and benefits in kind and working hours as well. So we'll look at how those elements may be taken outside the scope of the legislation, or alternatively, if they are included, how employers can prepare for that potentially. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you'll move on to parts 2 and 3. If you do need any advice in the meantime, please do get in touch. Visit the website chadwicklawrence.co.uk or email employmenthub@chadlaw.co.uk. Thank you.